Today's episode starts exactly as it should, with a well-deserved party for Gabrielle, and kind of, I guess, tangentially also for Xena, who, you know, is back in her body and all is well, and we are very pleased about this development, although I am a little sad to see Bruce Campbell go. But there is no time for mourning here, nor indeed is there really time for Gabrielle to have a party, because it's about to get crashed by the now inconveniently godlike Velasca. Yeah, Velasca's looking kinda the worse for wear, but then luckily she pulls out some very handy pocket jello. Note for accuracy, this would be pocket jello, not the much preferred boob jello, previously seen restoring Xena to her body. So yeah, Velasca levels up with her pocket jello and starts blowing everything to high heaven and starts calling out for Gabrielle because she is totally 100% fixated on this idea of having revenge on Gabrielle, who stole the queenship of the Amazons from her. It's very inconvenient. Now, my favorite part of this entire sequence is Velasca, who roams around the Amazon camp saying things like, "You can't hide from me, Gabrielle! You can't hide from a god!" See, because this is awkward, because apparently you can. Not only does Gabrielle immediately hide from Velasca by ducking behind some convenient rocks, but they kind of spend the entire episode hiding from Velasca. And, yeah, apparently being a god is not actually the full-service option that it used to be. So yeah, Velasca may not be as all-powerful as she would like to be, but she does have some pretty nifty lightning powers. So everybody scatters. All the Amazons go running, and Xena and Gabrielle go running too, and everyone's gonna go hide in the caves and regroup. Which, you know, seems to be the sensible option here. Once they're there, they all start to form a plan, and basically the Amazons are gonna go run interference. They're gonna try to see if they can slow Velasca down from immediately catching up with Gabrielle and Xena. And, you know, as usual, the show manages to provide us with some lines we cannot simply let rest at face value. Case in point, Effany. Effany volunteers to kind of be the main target for Velasca while Gabrielle and Xena are running off in the other direction, but Effany volunteers with the following line. "I think I'm high on her list of things to do." Yes, I bet you are, Effany. I bet you are. So Effany will be the Amazon's bait for Velasca. Meanwhile, Xena and Gabrielle are gonna run off in the opposite direction with their own plan. Xena's plan is in fact the necessary evil that our title may have potentially foreshadowed would be coming. Because according to Xena, to fight an immortal, we need an immortal. Because apparently it has been crossover heaven this week in Xena Hercules land. Or at least I hope there's been crossovers, otherwise I really need to pay attention better. Because we find out that Callisto has been trapped in a cave by Hercules, and I don't really know why this worked. I mean, I guess it's less of a cave and more of a temple, but apparently he threw some rocks on her and she stayed put. But lest we think this is not a typical Callisto-style vacation, we do come upon her first having a nice little chat with a rat, who, you know, is pretty much there to show us that Callisto may be down, but she is not yet beaten in the fight to produce the most crazy. Now, lest we forget some action that took place in Season 1, we are reminded here that Callisto is responsible for killing the most tragically named character in the entirety of the Xenaverse. Yes, I am looking at you, Perdiccas. Perdiccas. Your name is Perdiccas. I'm glad you died, because that was just unfortunate. I'm sorry, Gabrielle, but your husband had the stupidest name I've ever heard. I'm not really sorry. Anyway, Xena and Gabrielle make it to Callisto and convince her to help. Now what they do is they actually make a bargain. In exchange for the opportunity of potentially getting her hands on some ambrosia of her own, Callisto agrees to help them stop Velasca, but not before orchestrating a public apology from Xena for her crimes of the past. It's kind of weird and sad because we clearly know that Xena has no problem owning up to the terrible things she's done. She kind of does that all the time. But I think this is really just here as an opportunity to catch people up on the backstory and let Callisto kind of make some wild-eyed emoting as she listens. Now, being a god and all now, you would think that Velasca could have easily caught up to them by now. But no, she had stuff of her own to do. because we are treated to a scene of Velasca bringing her own special brand of wrath upon a temple of Artemis. There are lightning powers on display, there is screaming to the heavens about how Artemis failed the Amazons. I don't really know what Velasca was hoping to accomplish here, but basically it just kind of serves to give her something to do. But don't even worry about it, because all too soon we are hurtling toward the showdown of Gabrielle and Xena and Callisto versus Velasca. Now, leading up to this showdown, Gabrielle gives Callisto many the stink eye, and it turns out, with good reason, because given the first hint of an opportunity, Callisto vaults over, switches sides, and tries to help out Velasca. And what ensues is basically your daily recommended dose of girl fighting. But Gabrielle and Xena do manage to escape by bringing down some really conveniently located rocks right upon the head of Velasca, and then taking Callisto with them because apparently they still want her on their side. I don't really understand why they think this is still a good idea. So at this point, bless her heart, Gabrielle tries to have one of her ill-advised heart-to-hearts with Callisto sitting around the evening's campfire, as Callisto kind of sits and strokes her phallic sword. That happened. But we can't really spend too long on this because, oh no, a magical god cyclone arrives. And so really fast we have to race to the ending that Gabrielle and Xena hoped to bring to Velasca, which is basically to bring her to some ruins and dump her in some convenient stock footage of lava. Now, my favorite part of this entire fight sequence is actually an exchange between Velasca and Gabrielle. Strange, but I don't really want to kill you. Go with it. Ah, these knuckleheads. Now, of course, Velasca doesn't actually get to kill Gabrielle because Callisto runs in at the last seconds and they begin to fight. So our immortals are fighting each other for some ambrosia, and somehow Xena and Gabrielle both end up hanging off a really rickety rope bridge. And everything is very tense with the possibility that they may fall into the stock footage. And somehow in the midst of this, Callisto does get the ambrosia, and so Velasca and Callisto begin to fight with lightning until they fall into the stock footage. And then we do finally reach my favorite conversation of the entire episode. If I said it was anything else, I lied, because this is golden. Xena, do you think, deep down, Callisto feels sorry for all the terrible things that she's done? No! Gold. So we end with Velasca and Callisto stuck in some lava, and no one really knows how long it'll take them to burst free, but hey, we're only on season 2, so I'm betting that's gonna happen sooner rather than later. The reputation of the Amazon nation was not harmed, despite Velasca's overly radical adherence to an otherwise valid belief system.